The 5 years prior to retirement are not only your last chance to prepare for a successful retirement, but your best opportunity to make impactful progress. I'm going to show you how to build on the foundation you've already laid to make your retirement exponentially better during this 5-year run. It's not out of the question to double your savings in the last 5 years before retirement, so let's get started. And I'm going to give you 5 important things you need to do. Okay, I want you to first start with this one important question. This lays the groundwork for getting the money parts right. Many miss this important step until it's too late. So here's the question. What are you not able to do now that you can do once you retire? Just start jotting down ideas. If you're married, ask your spouse to do it also, and then compare notes. Of course, you can revisit this question in your approach to retirement. But here's why you need to start with the question now. 2 things, actually. Number 1, having this picture of retirement determines what you need to save. If traveling or buying a second home or going to see family multiple times per year is important to you, it needs to be part of the plan now while you're still earning money. Not only that, but second, when most people get to this 5-year mark, they're in the best position they've been in to start dreaming about what retirement looks like for them. They've been busy with the kids, getting them through college, or just advancing in their career. But now retirement can be more real to you. What you don't want to do is not save properly and find out later you don't have what you need. Nor do you want to drift into retirement and just fill time rather than live out your dreams and your priorities. Now, with this in mind, you're in the best position for clarity around your personal goals. You're likely also in your best position financially. And this is where you can make the most impactful financial progress. And people often miss this. They think it's either too late to make a difference or their plan's already set. But these final years are really your most powerful saving years. Let me show you why. Warren Buffett, regarded by many to be the world's best investor, he's age 94 as we're recording this. His estimated net worth is over $140 billion. But here's what most people don't know. Morgan Housel wrote in his best-selling book, The Psychology of Money. If you haven't read that, great book. Speaking of Buffett, he says his skill is investing, but his secret is time. You see, 99% of Buffett's net worth was accumulated after he was 65 years old. Housel went on to say, if Buffett retired at age 65, you never would have heard of him. So now, Warren Buffett was still much richer than us at 50 and 60, but the power of compounding really magnified as he got older and he kept at it. So let's look at a realistic example, and your numbers will undoubtedly look different, but this will give you an idea as to how to attack your savings and even double it over 5 years. So let's say Joe and Jane, both age 60 and they're retiring at 65. They have $750,000 saved for retirement. Not a bad nest egg, especially when they're getting Social Security on top of that. But they're in their prime earning years and they can save. They also realize that not only is life expensive and just getting costlier, but they need their money to last some 30 plus years. They'd like to do some traveling and enjoy retirement. So if they each max out their 401ks, including catch-up contributions, let's call it $35,000 a piece over 5 years. They need to earn 7.3% per year on their investments for that $750K to double to $1.5 million. But even as this dollar figure starts to look bigger, will it be enough? You can double your savings, even have a number saved up that's more than you've ever had. But once you cross into retirement, you can't save like when you're working. You don't want to go back to work. So you need to get this part right. This simple model helps you estimate what you'll need to live on well. There are 2 parts to it. So the first is estimating what you need to hit your bank account each month to live on. You can do this by keeping diligent notes on how much you spend. That's great if you do this. Most people don't. Or you could simply estimate your expenses. The problem I can tell you from experience is most people far underestimate what they spend. And that's a major problem because then you're aiming for the wrong target. The more accurate way is to determine what hits your bank account each month. Key on your net pay after 401k contributions, after payroll taxes or FICA. Now, you will still have income taxes, so you need to add that back into your total need. But focusing on your net pay is the best place to start. Now, there are some other intricacies to getting your expenses accurate because some expenses may go away, like paying off a mortgage some years into retirement, maybe 5 or 10 years down the line. So to see how to account for those intricacies, we posted a previous video, and I'll drop a link in the description. That walks you through how and why the Live, Give, Owe, Grow system for simply and accurately determining your retirement expenses is the best way to ensure you're aiming at the right target and really builds off your net income number. Okay, the second part, what will your income sources be in retirement? And what are the amounts? And how much is that income expected to increase each year to keep up with the cost of living? So this could include Social Security, pensions, rental property income. So if, for example, you need $8,000 to hit your bank account each month and your direct income sources add up to $4,000 per month, well, then the difference would need to come from your portfolio withdrawals, from your investments. Of course, you'll need to factor in taxes that are being withheld from these income sources, or if you'll need to make estimated tax payments. Now, one more tip when it comes to cash flow and getting ready for retirement: get any debt paid off except for maybe your mortgage, and even consider paying for big expenses like that new roof you need or a car before retiring. This can take off some of the stress once you retire. There are just some expenses that are bigger than others. Taxes, housing, healthcare, those tend to be the big three for most retirees. Healthcare is the one I see most people worried about, and the 5 years leading up to retirement is the best time to prepare yourself. Unfortunately, people wait too long to figure this out. I mean, sure, there are some things that can wait, but you want to get ahead on these tips I'm going to give you specific to keeping more money in your pocket when it comes to healthcare. And please add any additional tips or things you've learned in the comments so everyone can learn. Okay, first, if you have a health savings account, an HSA, this is that triple tax benefit savings, deduction, tax deferral, tax-free distributions for health expenses. Well, once you go on Medicare, presumably at age 65, you can no longer contribute into an HSA. You can, however, use what you've saved in an HSA. So max it out if you can. Number two, I have a client getting ready to retire. She needs a shoulder surgery, and she plans to do that before she retires because of the insurance she currently has. Now, if you have controllable health expenses or procedures coming up, understand your health insurance enough to know if you should address that health issue while you're still on your employer health insurance, or if you should wait for Medicare. Now, of course, money doesn't take precedence over your health, so listen to your doctors and use common sense on the timing. Number three, then there's the premium side of Medicare. If you're retiring early before Medicare starts, you may have a gap in coverage. Perhaps COBRA, which helps that transition from your employer plan, is an option, but often it could require you to get health insurance on your own, which can be expensive. Make sure to plan for that gap expense. And then four, finally, Medicare premiums are not one size fits all. There are brackets based on income, like tax brackets. And Medicare looks back 2 years at your income. So for instance, if you're retiring at 65 when you start Medicare, then they're looking back 2 years when you're age 63 at the amount of income you earn, and possibly that's a high number. They're basing the premiums on that amount. Now, the good news is that retirement, and specifically a reduction of income for retirement, is a consideration for an appeal to Medicare. If your taxable income indeed does drop when you retire, you can use Form SSA-44 to appeal that higher premium. I'll drop a link in the description. And preparing for all of this is really difficult if your money is not working for you. Investing is different when you go from a saver to an income taker. You've probably heard that you should reduce risk with your investments when you get into retirement, and that can be partially true. But many retirees base their investment mix on some cookie cutter asset allocation they found online, or they base their strategy on age and risk tolerance, but they miss out on the most important variable. So I want you to keep two things in mind when it comes to your investments. Number one is inflation will eat away at your nest egg if your money doesn't grow and if you're too conservative. As we can see here, bonds and cash have barely outpaced inflation over the long term, while stocks have significantly grown over time. But the second point is to get that growth, like in stocks, there's some inherent risk, especially in short time frames. Values will fluctuate. So you'll likely want to have a conservative bucket to meet the short-term income needs when you get into retirement, but also a growth allocation for the long term. That's the money you don't need anytime soon. So here's the variable that most people miss. How to construct that investment strategy depends on how much income you need to withdraw from your portfolio. Then you can apply your risk preference on top of that. And you don't want to do this too late, which is why you need to start planning now. I break down how to build the right retirement portfolio mix for you, not defaulting to the traditional 60-40 split or doing what your coworker does. Find the right mix for you. You'll want to watch this video next on how to invest in retirement, and I'll also add a link in the description. And if you would like to talk to one of the certified financial planners on my team, it's easy. We start with a brief call. You can click on the link in the description and find a callback time that works for your schedule. Thanks for watching.